Good morning to one and all. Today's my session is on Nmap Tool. Nmap Tool is used to test the web application. So most of the organizations uses Nmap Tool to test the vulnerabilities on their systems. So the vulnerabilities can be tested on the web applications, on any on the operating system, or on the network and etc. So it is used as it is a powerful tool to test the weaknesses in the system to prevent our system from the hackers. Similarly, the Nmap tool is also used by the hackers. So it is used in both ways, in a positive way and also in a negative way. But we are using this Nmap tool for penetration testing, and we need to and keep in mind that this Nmap tool, when you are using, you need to get a permission while you are using the Nmap tool on other system. When you are performing any operation on other system, you need to follow the security policies. That should be keep in mind. And now, why we are using this Nmap tool? We are using this Nmap tool when you are developing any or web application, or when you are having a web server, to test how strong our system is. Is there any loopholes in the system? For that purposes, we can use it, and that is it is used to test our system, not other systems. So keep in mind that. And now in this session, I will explain about how to use the Nmap tool. Uh, so the today's session will be on the focus on the activities related to Nmap tool, network discovery, port scanning, service enumeration, penetration testing, OS fingerprinting, diverse scanning techniques. These are the some of the activities that are involved in the Nmap tool. So now, what are the so briefly I want to explain about the activities that are involved in the Nmap tool. So yeah, one is we can identify the systems that are active in the network. So that is, for example, in a particular network, we can see what are the systems which are active and which systems are down, and so which systems are up and which systems are down. So because one side, the hackers first they test the in the network which systems are active. So they perform any hacking techniques on the system which are active in the network. So one way is, so as a penetration tester, when you are discovered any system which are active, so it is a responsibility of the security expert to see that the systems which are active are not visible to the outside persons. And if you can make this activity, that is making the active system invisible to the outside world, will be most advantageous to in maintaining the security. So that is one way we can identify using Nmap tool. We can identify the systems that are active in the network. Next one is we can identify uh, the weaknesses in the network also. So we can weaknesses can be identified. We can assess the strength of the network. That is there any chance of entering into the network? We can identify such type of chances using this Nmap tool. Next, another thing is we can identify what are the services that are running on the system which are connected to the network. Next, we can identify the vulnerabilities in the system. Vulnerabilities in the system or can also be identified. That is, vulnerabilities are the loopholes in the system. So, and Another task that we can use in the Nmap tool is identifying the weaknesses in the firewall. Is there any chances of bypassing the firewalls? So, what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses in the firewall can be identified using the Nmap tool. So already just now I said most of the organization uses the Nmap tool for auditing purposes, auditing the system, auditing the networks based on the security policies and standards followed by the organization. So that's Nmap tool is the most powerful tool for auditing, identifying the weaknesses in the network and identifying the weaknesses in the systems that are connected to the network. So it is the responsibility of the system administrator or the security expert to make sure that network is protected and all the systems that are connected to the network are protected. So these four tasks are very important, providing security to the systems that are connected to the network and providing the security to the network also. Both points are need to be uh, kept in mind mm, uh, by the system administrator or the security administrator. So here, how to identify how the network is secure, how the systems are secured is one way is using the Nmap tool. Nmap tool help us to identify the security, the strength of security in the host systems and in the network. So just now it is used for troubleshooting, identifying any connecting issues in the systems which are connected to the network. Next, already I said it is used for penetration testing, and Nmap tool used by the security expert for testing the system. That is to identify is there any entry point in the network. Nmap can also be integrated into an intrusion detection system to continuously monitor the network for any changes and potential threats. So, one way is discovering the systems that are connected to the network. So now we can discover how to identify which system is active, which system is not active using Nmap tool. So again, here we need to follow the commands. Command is compulsory. So here using Nmap full, and if you observe here, here in this case I pass the, we can identify the systems that are connected in the network using the subnet, network subnet. So here I can identify what are the systems that are connected in this subnet. What is the subnet? 192.168.1. From 1, it is a network subnet from 0 to 255. What are the systems that are connected here? That can be identified which are active and which are not active. So based on the network subnet address, we can identify in that subnet, in the network subnet, we can identify which systems are active, which systems are not active. So this is one way we can. This is one way in identifying the systems in the network. So by providing the subnet address. Next one, we can identify the systems that are active in the network by providing the IP address of particular range on particular range. So in this example, 192.168.1, this is a common. This IP address is common. Dot from 1 to 50, we can identify whether there's which system up to 50 systems in this example, up to 50 systems we can identify whether that 50 systems out of 50 systems which systems are active and which systems are not active. That is from 192.168.1 dot from 1 to 50. That from 1 to 50 systems can be identified which are active and which are not active, and we can identify the systems which are active or not active based on the specific interface. Generally, ETH0 is the interface which are used in our systems, and in some cases, whereas in the servers we can use may use different interfaces, that is ETH0 to 1 ETH1, ETH2, and such that, and so on. But most of our systems, especially when we are testing our systems, we use only one interface is used, that is ETH0. So don't prefer to use ETH1, ETH2, and so on. Prefer test only on ETH0, since we are in the local system. Since we are in our local system, we have only one interface type. So now we can identify. So final conclusion is you can identify the systems in the network using using subnet address, or using IP address of specific range, or based on specific interface. So now this is how using in this way we can identify which systems are active and which systems are not active. But so to identify this, yet another thing which we have to remember is option SN. Option SN is used to identify the systems active or not active. This option is used. Next one is port scan. Port scanning is used to identify. This is first step. Is a first step for an hackers while they are performing any attacks on any system. First step, what they do is they perform port scanning on the victim system. What is that port scanning? Identifying which ports are open, which ports are not open. Based on knowing that which port is open and which port is not open, based on this we can identify what services running on the victim system. Based on the services running on the victim system, we can identify the entry point entering into the victim system. So the basic step to enter into a to enter into a victim system is using port scanning. Port scanning is used. One way to enter is using port scanning to enter into the victim system. So now, here the command here one is just nmap followed by the IP address. So if I give nmap followed by a victim IP address, we can identify what are the ports that are open on that victim system. So this command is known as default port scanning, also known as TCP sync scan, which sends the sync packets. Sync packets are sent generally sync packets are sent to identify the port on the victim system, whether it is open or not. Another thing is, on a particular IP address, we can identify a particular ports are open or not. So in the first case, it scans for all the ports available on the network, and it is also time consuming. And that means it checks from 0 to 65,535 ports. So remembers that some ports are built-in ports and some are user-defined ports. So built-in ports are built-in ports and user-defined ports. So based the built-in ports indicates the which are related to the particular service. So uh, here, when you use Nmap with only a IP address without any option, it is known as TCP sync scan, which scans for all the ports. It tests all the ports in the vector system and displays which ports are active and which ports are not active, that is which ports are open and which ports are not open. And remember that it is the responsibility of the security experts to see that ports are not visible to the outside world. So no other third party should able to see the ports on the network. If this point is solved, and that is a then it is a then that system is most secure. Otherwise, system is not secure. So one way of protecting system from accuracies, we need it is a responsibility of the security expert or an individual to see that the ports on that system is not visible to the third party. So if you can solve this problem, majority of the case the system cannot be active. Next, even if you have antivirus software, a most popular antivirus software, there is no guarantee that your system is going to be secure. So no guarantee. So it is our responsibility to secure a system, and it is a continuous research process. It is a continuous research to prevent your systems from the third party people. So now that is we can scan, we can test for all the ports in the network, or we can test for particular ports on the network, that is using option P. Option P is used to scan we can test whether particular port is open or not. You remember port 80, sorry, port 80 and port 443. There are built-in ports for use for HTTP and HTTPS. So yet that is we can test for a particular code is open or not, which is a wastage of time will be reduced. Now option P, just using option this only option P also it scans for all the ports available on the it tests for all the ports, that is from 0 to 65,535. Again it is a time consuming. So better to use option P with followed by a particular port numbers. But still using TCP sync scan also very important because there may be some other ports which are open, and it is a responsibility of the security experts to see that it is not visible. It is open. We cannot close it. It should be open to perform particular services, but that should not be visible to the outside party. Next one. Here again in port scanning, we can identify the services that are running on the victim system, and what is the version of the service also can be identified using option SV. Option SV is used to identify the version that is running on the victim system. Next one is we can perform quick scan, and that is a fast scan using option T4 and option F. Option T4 and option F is used to perform fast scanning. The speed of scanning will be fast to identify the ports that are open on the system. Next, we can identify what operating system is running on the victim system. We can identify the operating system that is running on the victim system using option O. So option O is used to identify the operating system running uh, on the victim system. Option SV, V means capital, S is small. Option SV is used to identify the version of the services that are running on the victim system. So now already I said option O is used to identify the operating system that is running on the victim system. Next option A. Option A is used to identify both option A you use to identify both, that is the operating system that is running on the victim system plus the version that is running on the victim system. So next coming to here, option O means to identify the operating system that is running on the victim system. Option T4 indicates the fast scanning. The speed of scanning will be fast. Next, here diverse scanning techniques. Here the several techniques are there, but here I am focusing on three important scanning techniques. One is TCP sync scan. Next, another one is TCP connect scan. Another one is UDP scan. TCP sync scan sends the sync packets to the victim system to identify the ports that are open on the system. But this stealth scan is a scanning will be fast because it doesn't complete full TCP handshake. Incomplete, that is off open connection. I can say another one is off open connection, whereas TCP connect scan, TCP connect scan performs full scanning, that is full uh, TCP handshake method, TCP handshake method is done. That is in TCP connect scan attempts to establish a full TCP connection on the target system for each scan ports. Yet if the connection is successful, the port is considered to be open. If a connection is unsuccessful, the port is considered to be closed. So here, whereas in TCP sync scan doesn't perform full TCP connection. Here it does, but whereas TCP connect scan performs full TCP connection, where when the port is open, when the port is when the port is open, connection will be successful. Here, and when the port is not open, connection will not be successful. So both are same, TCP sync scan and TCP connect scan. Both are same to identify the ports which are open and which are not open. But whereas in TCP connect scan, if connection is established on particular port, that means port is open. If connection is not connection is not happen on particular port, means the port is closed. When a port is closed, connection fails. When the connection fails, that means the port is closed. Whereas if a connection is done on particular port, means the port is open. Next one is UDP scan. UDP scan is used to identify the UDP ports. Any UDP port is open or not can be identified using UDP scan. So these are the some techniques. So now we'll focus on how to do it. So now here I'm having virtual machine. Here I'm having VMware workstation. In VMware workstation, we are having two missions I'm running. One is Metasploit. One is Metasploit. Another one is Kali Linux. One minute. I'm having Kali Linux. So now this is my Kali Linux system. So now in Kali Linux system is one of the most powerful tool. Kali Linux is the most powerful tool to perform penetration testing. And being an IT professional, it is our responsibility to gain the knowledge on Kali Linux. Kali Linux is the most powerful tool in this world to perform penetration testing, and this Kali Linux is an open source tool. and which can be used on virtual VMware or virtual box. So now I'm using VMware. In VMware, I'm having two missions. One is Kali Linux to perform penetration testing, and another one is I'm having Metasploit, which is a vulnerable mission. Already I said I cannot perform any hacking on. 1 minute, it is taking time. Right now, it is a Metasploit. This is a Metasploit mission. One is Metasploit mission, another one is Kali Linux. Metasploit. This is my Kali Linux. So now I open the terminal of Kali Linux. This is the terminal of Kali Linux. So first thing we have to do is need to identify the IP address of the Kali Linux. So to identify the IP address of the Kali Linux, if config, if config. So the IP address of the Kali Linux is the IP address of the Kali Linux is 192.168.206.137. Again, I am repeating, the IP address of Kali Linux is 192.168.208 206.137. This is the IP address of Kali. Here I am using one word file. In Kali Linux, the IP address is Kali Linux IP address is 192.168.206.137. Kali Linux IP address. So this is the IP address of my Kali Linux. Next, another vulnerable machine is Metasploit. Metasploitable. So remember, another one is Metasploitable. Spelling Metasploitable. So here Metasploitable, again I'll check the IP address if config. To check the IP address of Metasploit, again if config. So now its IP address address of Metasploit is 192.168.206.132. So this is the IP address. So now here I'm writing. So good, if you go to Metasploit, Metasploit 2 IP address 192.168.206.132. So now if observe here, this both Kali Linux and Metasploit 2 are in the same IP address, same network. So they are in same network. Metasploit and Kali Linux are in same network. Kali Linux and Metasploit 2 are in same network. Next one, what is Kali Linux? Kali Linux is the most powerful. Kali Linux is most powerful penetration testing penetration testing tool. Most powerful penetration testing tool. What is what is Metaspot tool? It is a vulnerable tool, vulnerable mission. Vulnerable mission used for penetration testing. Used to learn. I can say you used to learn. We cannot test on other system. Remember that testing cannot be done on other system without permission. Used to learn. So Metasploit 2 is vulnerable mission used to learn penetration testing. Next, remember, note, penetration testing cannot be done cannot be done on others mission without permission. On others mission on others mission without permission. Without permission. So now already we observed that Kali Linux IP address is 192.168.206.137. Metasploit 2 IP address is 192.168 sorry 168.206.132. Now if you observe here, both are in same network. See, that is in same network. This one in the same network. And Linux is the most powerful penetration testing. Metasploitable 2 is a vulnerable mission used to learn penetration testing. And next, remember that penetration testing cannot be done on others' mission without permission. So now, first thing what we have to do is we need to test whether both missions are connected or not. So to test is you need to use whether this Metasploit mission is connected to Kali Linux. Again, you need to test the Kali Linux is connected to Metasploit. The basic step is using ping command. Ping and give the IP address of Kali Linux. What is the IP address of Kali Linux? 192.168.206.137. Now it shows that the Metasploit is connected to Kali Linux. Similarly in Kali Linux, now I have to test. Now I need to test the Kali Linux is connected to Metasploit or not. Then only I can perform Nmap Tool. So to perform Nmap Tool, I need to first step what I have to do is I need whether the systems are in the network or not. So we are testing all the systems are in the same network. So other network means it is will be another steps. So now we are focusing on testing on same network. So now, so again ping. Now give the IP address of Metasploit. What is the IP address of Metasploit? 192.168.206.132. So it shows that the Kali Linux is also connected to Nmap Tool. So okay, now I'll perform Nmap operations. Now I'll perform Nmap operations on Kali Linux. Sorry, uh, uh, on Metasploit mission. So now already said Metasploit, or what is the Metasploit? Is it a vulnerable mission? So well, so now in browser I have given the IP address of in browser. I have given the IP address of the Metasploit. So in Kali Linux, I open the browser. So in that browser, I have given the IP address of Metasploit 2. What is the IP address of Metasploit 2? 192.168.206.132. So we have five vulnerable machines, vulnerable web servers. One is Twiki, PHP My Admin, Multi-Die, DVWA, and Web DAV are the powerful websites where we can perform the penetration testing. These are all these five are vulnerable websites where we can we are now everything. Even I can perform malware attack on that missions. So when I perform malware attacks on that mission, what is going to attack? Website, this web server is running in my mission. So my mission is going to affect, not others' missions. So uh, so it is most for learning purpose. It is most safe to use uh, using this VMware. In that VMware, installing the Kali Linux for to perform penetration testing, and in that VMware, we need to. It is our responsibility to install a virtual vulnerable missions. One most powerful vulnerable mission is Metasploitable 2. So most of my session I'll focus on this Metasploitable 2 mission only, not any other mission. So yeah, so now we got idea that four web applications are, sorry, five web applications are running under Metasploit 2, which are most vulnerable, and DVWA is the most powerful web application where we can learn uh, uh, penetration testing related to web applications. So now coming back to the terminal. Now first thing is I want to perform Nmap testing. So I'll say Nmap default sync scan. Default sync scan. So default sync scan Nmap followed by the IP address 192.168.206.130. So now you can see what are the services that are, what are the ports that are open. It's the most vulnerable mission. So almost these are the ports that are running. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Around 23 ports are open and which are visible to the outside world. So most, what are the most known ports that are running? File transfer protocol, secure shell, telnet, simple mail transfer protocol, HTTP, NetBIOS, next one network file system. MySQL is running. MySQL is running. PostgreSQL is there. So this, and it is a most very useful vulnerable mission where we can learn the whatever we can learn from the penetration testing. We can do lot of things as maximum testing we can do in this vulnerable mission, and it is very useful also. So now I hope you got an idea about So uh, what is a Nmap tool? So now I want to see whether this machine is active or not using. So here, so with the here this command nmap is already nmap followed by here one minute option sn. Here I'll give option sn. So when I give option sn, I here I can find whether the system is active or not. So it is taking lot of time, right? So system is up. System is up. So now, like that, I can test on Google also. For example, here I can write instead of Metasploit, I can test for Google www.google.com. So here, so anyway, this Nmap tool is only for the passive attacks, not an active attack. Just to know what information is there. So just now we have seen option. We have used option SN to find the which ports are active. Sorry, whether the system is up or down. So option SN is used to find whether the system is up or down. So now I can test whether the port 80 and port 43 is open or not. So one is, so I'm testing on Nmap tool, sorry, on the Metaspot mission. Option P, I want to test port 80 is open, port 25, next port 4443. Yes, all these ports are open. 25 is open, simple mail transfer protocol. HTTP port is open, HTTPS port is also open. Now I want to test port 21 is open or not. Port 21, only port 21. So option P, 21. Yes, port 21 is also open. Now I want to test all the ports from 0 to, I want to test all the ports from 0 to 65,535. From 0 to 65,535, which ports are open, which ports are open. Remaining means it indicates that ports which are not visible, that means the ports are not open. So now I want to see all the ports from 0 to 65,535. It generally takes lot of time, right? So these are the ports that are open, and remaining numbers means that means that ports are not that numbers other numbers indicates that they are not available in this system. So we can test on we can identify based on by giving particular number, we can identify uh, that port is open or not, or we can test for all the ports also. Next, coming to that, now I want to find what operating system is running on this machine. What operating system is running on this machine? So to find the operating system that is running on this machine, option 4. Okay, so for this compulsory to find option work, it is not working. It asking the only the admin can run this command. So here to run sudo means admin command. So sudo nmap option capital work followed by 192.168.206.132. one. This IP address is the IP address of Metasploit. Here I need to give admin password. So what operating system is running? So if you observe at the bottom, the operating system that is running is Linux. So Metasploit 2 is a Linux system, not a Windows system. It is a Linux system. And now I want to find the services that are running on the machine. Option SV. Option S. Here we can find the services that are running version, including the version numbers. So it is taking time. So we can find the version FTP. What is the version? Simple mail transfer protocol. What is the version? So you can find the version numbers. Apache. So I see Apache Tomcat is running. What is the version number? So we can identify the version number. So NetBIOS Samba. Samba is used. What is the version number? So version numbers can be used. But here if observe, the operating system is not visible. Only we can see the what are the ports that are open, followed by the versions, the services that are running on the on that particular port with version numbers. So MySQL, what is the version number it is running? MySQL 5.0. PostgreSQL is running. We know the PostgreSQL is running on the Metasploit, but what is the version? PostgreSQL DB 8.3.0. So we can find the version. But here, what operating system? Okay, you can find operating system also. That is Linux. In bottom we can see the Linux. It is using Linux system. But here I can use option A also. Option A. Option A. Option A is option A finds again it is a combination of both operating system and the services. It is a combination. It is a combination of both operating system and the service. Option A is a combination of both the services and it is a combination of both operating system and version detection. Also known as option A is also known as intense operating system fingerprinting. So if observe here, detailed information will be provided of the system. Option A, complete information. Option, but we need to use root privileges. So detailed information is provided. Option A, it is also known as intense operating system fingerprinting. Detailed information of the code. So now if observe here again, if I run this command, time is taking. If you observe here, it is taking little bit time. For this, I can use fast scan. It is taking time. It is taking time. So, so we need to perform fast scanning. To perform fast scanning, we can use option A with fast scan. Option D4. fast scan. Option yeah. Speed have to be increased, but here both are same. Even if I use option T for time, it is taking time to provide the detailed information. Now I'll perform skill scan. Still scan. Option yes, capital S. What is the still scan? Still, still scan for sense sync packets to the victim mission uh, to identify the ports that are open on the victim mission, but it doesn't perform complete uh, TCP handshake. So if observe here, the speed of connection is fast. It sends the sync packets. It sends the sync packets to find the ports that are open on the victim mission, but half open connection, not a complete full TCP handshake is not performed on SYNSCAN. Now TCP connect scan. Now I'll use TCP connect scan. Option ST. Here it performs complete full TCP connection. If connection is open means if port is visible means if connection if connection is established means port is open. If connection not established means port is not open. Next one is I'll perform UDP scan. UDP scan, which performs which you use to identify the UDP ports. Option SC. It checks any UDP port is there or not on the victim machine. So it is taking time. So final conclusion of this Nmap tool is it is used to test the services that are running on the victim machine, and we can also identify any entry point available in the network. So it is here this one it is taking a lot of time. That means the UDP ports are not there. It is taking time. It shows that there is no. It is taking time. Okay, it is wasted. So so finally, I hope you understand about what is Nmap tool. Oh, and some comments are also there. We'll try for this one. One another one is TCP acknowledge scan. That means here it is used to identify if if a firewall is filtering or allowing packets or not. So now I will test this one also. Next one is Windows scan. Windows scan is used to infer that it is also used to identify whether the port is open or not. Next one is null scan is dead, which is also used to identify to identify the target ports. Next one is fin scan is there. So now we'll test this one also. So one is acknowledgement scan, option SA, option SA acknowledgement scan. So here acknowledgement is used to determine whether the firewall is filtering or allowing packets. So we can test the firewall. So now what it is showing, all 100,000 scan ports, or it has scanned for 100 ports. So here if you observe, the firewall is blocking. So we can test whether you can perform test on the firewalls. Next one is Windows scan. Option SW. So finally, it doesn't show us any Windows scan or acknowledgement scan. It doesn't show. It shows only the system is open or not. It now it displaying the MAC address. So MAC address is displayed. So here this command, this Windows scan is useful to identify the MAC addresses. MAC address of the victim machine. Another one is null scan. So null scan sends the null packets to the victim machine with no TCP flag set. So TCP flag is not set to the packet. Without setting any TCP flag, we can send the TCP null packet, TCP packet without setting the TCP flag to test whether the port is open or not. So now we'll perform null scan. Nmap, option yes, N. So null scan. So we are sending a TCP packet. Null scan sends a TCP packet without setting the TCP flag. Next one, fin scan. Option yes, sir. We can, since we are testing on vulnerable machine, all commands are executing, but don't assume that it will execute on other machine, because there the firewalls will block the this nmap command. So here TCP fin scan is used to send, it sends TCP fin packets to the target victim machine. Again, to identify whether the port is open or not. So we can send a TCP packet by setting the fin flag, or we can send TCP packet by not setting the TCP flag. Like that, we can send to identify, that is null scan or a fin scan, to identify the ports on the victim machine. So these are the some references related to Nmap. Next, thank you for watching this video. Let us meet on other sessions related to penetration testing. Thank you for watching this video.